Reiner is rapidly becoming one of the most interesting and, dare I say it, sympathetic characters in the Attack on Titan universe thanks to the focus on him seen in last week's pilot and in the slower-paced second episode of Attack on Titan, the final season. There's a lot going on in this guy's brain, so let's cover it to make sure we're not misunderstanding or forgetting something. And before we continue, don't worry, this video has no future anime spoilers. We're only talking about what is known as of Season 4, Episode 2. Setting the stage, Reiner survived after last week's devastating barrage of blasts, but the damage dealt made it explicitly clear to the nation of Marley that even though they won this most recent war, the technology of the world such as tanks and armored trains is rapidly catching up to the power of the Titans. In a meeting with Marleyan generals, the oldest member of the warriors, Zeke, recommends relaunching the plan to invade Paradise Island, where Eren and the other scouts come from. This is to get back the Titans they lost a few years ago, back in Season 3. And I know what you're thinking, we just said Titans are no longer going to cut it in this world of tanks and bombs. Zeke knows that too, but what he's saying in this scene is that Marley needs time to develop their own technology, and if the headline, "Marley reclaims all 9 Titans," appeared on every newspaper around the world, rival nations would probably stay away from Marley for at least a few years, which they can use to improve their tech. So that's what the leads of the Marleyan army are thinking going into this next set of episodes. Back to Reiner. He awakes from a nightmare of Mikasa and Levi coming for him to find Galliard, the current holder of the Jaws Titan, in his room. The two get to talking about memories passed down from Titan wielder to Titan wielder, and Galliard tells Reiner that while he didn't see his brother's memories, Galliard's older brother was the 4th warrior who went to Eldia with Reiner, Bert, and Annie, who was eaten by Ymir. So while he didn't see his brother's memories, he was able to see Ymir's memories. He saw a lot of Reiner during this time as a scout, saw the way he acted tough and brave and like an older brother to the other scouts. Galliard comments that this all felt fake. He says it almost seems like Reiner was acting, like he was pretending to be Galliard's older brother. Reiner next meets with the younger warrior program recruits, and here we see just how much he means to these kids. They practically idolize him, all wanting to be him to some extent, which is tragic because he knows firsthand what happens to people in his shoes, the losses, the pain, the signing away of your life basically. He stares at the team for a second and we get this devastating hallucination where he sees Annie, Bertold, and Galliard's brother in Gabi, Udo, Zofia, and Falco. He screams wait as if he's trying to tell his younger self and his friends not to do what they're about to do, not to ever go to Paradise Island. Think about this, all those bright-eyed kids from his memory, they're all gone now, either eaten or MIA. Next we get the train scene where we see another round of Reiner's emotionally turbulent episodes. Falco sort of suggests that Gabi's desire to gain the armored titan is ludicrous, and Reiner quietly blows up, telling him that becoming a special titan is the greatest honor an Eldian living in Marley can hold. What he's really doing here though is recognizing that Falco doesn't want Gabi to take on the titan because it means she'll have a short life due to the curse of Ymir. So Reiner basically tells Falco that if you really want to save Gabi from that cursed life, the only way to do it is to beat her in the exams and for you to take the armored titan for yourself. Reiner sees in Falco's desire to save Gabi the same desire he has to go back in time and save Bert, Annie, and probably himself, frankly, from the life of a titan shifter. Our last big Reiner scene of the episode, perhaps the most compelling, comes when Gabi and Reiner's families are sharing a dinner at Reiner's mom's house. Just a note, Gabi and Reiner are cousins. I know some people were confused about their shared last name or why they're spending time together. This is not a future spoiler, it's just a clarification. After celebrating Gabi's bravery in the last episode, Reiner is pressed by the family to share some war stories from his time on Paradise. The family is expecting stories of nightmare killers, but what comes to mind for Reiner is this hilarious story of a trainee who, in the middle of combat training, started eating a potato. He tries to dress it up as a story about how unpredictable these monsters are, but he's not fooling anyone. He makes the huge mistake of using the term, quote, all kinds of people to describe the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The only answer the Braun family would accept to describe the people of Paradise Island would be devils, and all kinds of people is far too humanizing. Reiner's mom shuts the windows and ends the conversation much like Grisha Jaeger's dad did when his son started questioning the Marleyan narrative. There's a final scene worth discussing about Reiner here, and that is him and Gabi on their way to training when Gabi says she feels like he's hiding something and that maybe his mom knows it too. Now this is ambiguous, and of course we know the immediate answer is that Reiner has complex emotions towards the people he met back on the island, but even further than that, and this is speculation, but based on the fact that Gabi looped in his mom, based on the way Reiner awoke from a nightmare in this episode, and based on his episodes in season 2 when he would suddenly talk like he was a different person, what I believe is that Reiner's mom has probably heard him having these nightmares and perhaps even sleep talking or having one of those split personality episodes while under her roof. So this might be what she knows, what Gabi's referring to, and whether or not Reiner knows that she knows, I honestly have no idea, but it could explain why Reiner's mom shut down the conversation so fast, not because she couldn't believe the words he was saying, but maybe it was because she could see him about to disassociate and drift into the scout persona, and she couldn't risk Gabi and the rest of the family knowing about that stuff. Okay, so that is everything going on inside Reiner's head to the best of my knowledge. The other big question you're probably asking yourself after watching this episode are, who are these Tybur people that Zeke told the other warriors about? They are something like a wealthy Eldian family who somehow managed to stay impartial during the Marley and Eldia wars of the past, and are somehow also really well respected across the world. Zeke's plan, as he explained to his fellow warriors, is that there's a festival coming up where journalists and royal families from all over the world will gather, and the Tybur family will basically be the press secretary or the PR agency that announces to the world, in 1 year's time, Marley will be back to its former glory by reclaiming the Titans lost on Paradise Island. The strategy, I suppose, is that if the Marleyan army just declared this, nobody would believe them, but if a quote-unquote impartial, well-respected family says that it's a legit claim, then the other nations are likely to believe them, and they'll leave Marley alone out of fear. Again, Marley will use that time alone to develop technology like bombs and planes and better guns so they don't have to rely on Titans in this new age of technology. And that is just about everything you need to know about episode 2. Did that help? If you're still feeling a bit disoriented with the season, that's honestly okay. It's intentional, but comment with any outstanding questions that you had that my video did not answer. I'll try to answer them next week, or maybe I'll even put up a follow-up video in the middle of the week to answer any extra questions. So be sure to subscribe to this channel so we can reconnect next week to talk about episode 3 of Attack on Titan, the final season. Okay, take it easy.